fire was total shock. I never dreamed that our school would catch on fire.
It wasn't, I can tell you this, it probably was not a good year for education.
It was the night of May 11th, 1993, and the high school was having a art show in the CLJMS Middle School gym. Part of the art show was a pyrotechnic art display. So they took the artwork out into the street on 3rd Street, and they set the art display on fire, burned it out there, and then came back in to the gym, leaving the ashes and everything out there in the street. Later on that evening, our custodian, who was an excellent custodian, a great individual, he came and was cleaning things up, took one of these brown garbage cans and rolled it out into the street and swept everything up that was there. It was fairly late, thinking that everything had burned out, and he dumped all the ashes and everything into the brown garbage can. The brown garbage can then was then brought back into the building. And at that time in 1993, where Sheila is walking, keep walking Sheila, about right there. That was the outside door leading out to the parking lot. There was another door that was placed about right here, and so this was like an entryway that was used for where we stored all the garbage. Also at that time, where we see the Lab 105, that was actually the kitchen. Where the media center is, up to where Mrs. Yant sits, that was actually the cafeteria for the district. And Mrs. Yant's area and the library was Lab 106, and where she is the second half of the library. Well, he wheels his stuff back here and places the garbage can over in this corner. This was an outside door leading out to the parking lot. He put the garbage can over here, or that he had, placed it here for the evening. Right out here was where the dumpster was, outside at that time. Well, he didn't know that where he placed all the cleanup from the burnt artwork in the street was also where the kids had placed the glue that they had used to put all over the artwork to cause it to go ablaze. And so the empty glue cans were in the bottom of this, and the embers had not completely gone out. He didn't know this. And the ashes then were on top of those glue cans, and then those glue cans caught on fire, went up and caught into our lowered ceiling, which at that time was an acoustic tile, all made of, held up by wood lattice that strung through the entire building. It caught the acoustic tile ablaze, got into the lattice, and then shot through the entire building. Since it was coming into the building, the fire burned with intense heat up in the roof, and it was almost impossible to stop. However, the actual blaze went straight down this hallway, burned up the kitchen, the media center, and down to about, the second door of the gym, where it was finally stopped, and burned the backs of our huge, gorgeous pillars that held up the gym. It also turned this corner and burned through all the 6th grade hallway, and then halfway across the front lobby, and burned down this hallway to where the art room is now. There's another step that's in there where we put an addition on in 1963. At that point, there was a firewall that prevented it from going any further that way. And the firemen came in about 11 o'clock is when this all starts to happen. And our volunteer fire department did a tremendous job of putting the fire out. They came in, great deal of water and smoke that was running through this entire building. I remember Jim Runyon's coming out, taking off his fire gear for a second, them giving him water. He's soaked in sweat, getting a breath of fresh air, and then putting all his gear on once again and diving back into the fire, continuing to try to put out the blaze that was in the ceiling. The heat became so intense that it melted the bar joisting that was holding up the roof in this side of the building in these 6th grade classrooms. The ceiling collapsed. There was this area was completely open to the world because of the intense heat. but the firemen did a fantastic job of putting the flames out. Once the fire was done, we finished our year in the high school and out in the Presbyterian church and the Methodist church to finish the year out. And then the following year we moved out to the fairgrounds and the Presbyterian church. Wardcraft Homes helped us build rooms out at the fairgrounds so we'd have enough rooms for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Our 5th graders were put in a metal building out on the fairgrounds, and our 4th graders were in the basement of the Presbyterian church for a year before we moved back in 1994.
And this dog's name was Molly, and she would come over every morning and she would greet every kid that got off the bus, and she was just like a little mascot for our fire school. So it was a funny thing, you know, that every kid there got to have that like hello from their dog.
One of them was that Mr. Wood had an eraser with Velcro on it, and the way he decided whether we would take a quiz or not is he would pick a different person to wing the eraser at the carpet wall, and if it stuck, we didn't have a quiz, and if it didn't stick, we did have a quiz, and so that was always a little excitement.
Favorite memories. I recall that we teased Mr. Phillips a lot because he was a fellow teacher in 6th grade, and he was the only one in the whole fairgrounds building who had a real room. It had walls, a door, and a ceiling, which no one else had. So we had to tease him a lot, and he took a lot of grief over that.
I remember that we had these small egg crates that we used as lockers, and they were maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, and that was all the space we had.
As we pulled up, we were getting off the truck, getting the hoses drug out, and we saw this huge fireball roll across the cafeteria window.
We had Axtell, and Franklin, and Hildreth, and Kearney. Kearney came down because they were the only ones at that time that had an aerial.
Well, it was interesting because all the staff members had to call like so many students to talk to them about it, and almost every student that I called said, you know, I always wish the school would burn down, but now that it's happened, I wish it wouldn't happen.
Talking to the firemen, had to draw a little map on how they were to crawl or come into the middle school office and save my computer.
The firemen need to know where the chemicals are in your room. So I had to describe that they were in the back corner to the north, and that's where they would be because the firemen were afraid that if that the fire got all the way down here that the chemicals would be affected by it.